Good evening. This is the Finance and Audit Committee meeting for Monday, May 9th, 2022. I will call this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Santos stated he would be absent this evening. Councilmember Fenn? Oh, I see he's here, but
Councilmember Fenn?
can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we're just calling roll. I just was verifying.
Oh,
Just doing
okay.
audio
Yeah,
check at the same time.
Okay. I'm here.
Thank you. Treasurer Janetti? Chairman Steve Cooley stated he would be absent this evening. Vice Chair David Vanderpool also stated he would be absent this evening. Member Lemasters?
Here.
Member Garcia? And Member Nuno stated she would be absent this evening.
Do we have a quorum?
We do not.
Okay.
All right, with no quorum, we will proceed with the meeting as informational only. There will be no motions, directions to staff, or voting on any items on the agenda. And we'll move into the second item on the agenda then, the general fund and wastewater budget to actual through April 2022.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I have for you the fiscal year 2022 general fund and wastewater budget actual through April of 2022. And this is for 10 months into the fiscal year. We'll start with general fund. We received 8 months of sales tax, and that has now surpassed the budget. City staff has been working with HDL and determined that a corporate restructure in the business industry sector has significantly increased this revenue. The building permit activity has surpassed budget as well, as we've seen increased activity in that for this fiscal year, mostly through a development project in the industrial sector. So that was a larger amount of revenue that came in for that. And investment earnings are trending below budget. And for your expenses, we have 21 of 26 pay periods that have been reported, and costs are trending lower than budget. Utility costs are trending high, fleet costs are trending high, and contractual services are trending lower than budget. And we have recorded 2 quarters of the fire service invoices, and that totals $1,977,775.07. And on August 3rd, 2021, City Council approved a budget amendment for unspent prior year appropriations and reappropriated $214,799 for fiscal year 2022. And that allows for remaining $741,845 of available funds for City Council to appropriate throughout the year, which there will be a budget amendment coming to Council on the May 17th agenda. So that'll be coming forward. Wastewater Fund. You have 4 of 6 utility billings recorded and trending lower than budget. 21 of 26 pay periods are recorded and costs are trending lower than the budget. Utilities are trending higher than budget. Fleet costs have exceeded the budget, and 1 of 2 debt service payments have been recorded. I wanted to point out that in the packets we have attached an Hdl report kind of talking about where we are with sales tax in relation to fiscal year 21. It's the 4th quarter, which would be the fiscal year 22 second quarter. So that's in there. Everyone's welcome to read that, and it has a good detail of kind of what's going on. The increase in the sales tax, so it's up about 305% for this fiscal year. So it's a good read if anyone wants to take a look at that. And I'm available for any questions.
I have a question, just quickly. I think I know the answer, but just to confirm. The utility and fleet costs you said are trending higher than budget. How much of that would you say is just due to higher energy costs because of inflation, because of the shortages that we're seeing, and how much is due to operational factors?
I say the majority is the increase. Yeah, for sure. And then on the fleet, you have the fuel costs are in there,
Yep.
as well as vehicle repairs. So we are seeing an increase in cost. There have been maybe a few more vehicles that have been added in, so that might be, accompanying that for the cost increase. But for the most part, it's just the increased costs that we're seeing, everybody is seeing.
Thank you. Any other questions from the committee?
No, I just want to say I'm here, Nicole.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you, Barry.
Yeah, sorry, guys. We took the exit down there at, I don't know, whatever street it is, and it was blocked and we had to go around. It was a mess down in Banning.
I see no other questions at this time. Going once, going twice. All right, we'll move on to the FY 2023 budget update.
Yes. So we are in the process of a fiscal year '23 budget, and the city is required to adopt a balanced budget by June 30th of each year. And a balanced budget provides that revenues meet or exceed expenses. And so this can include planned drawdown of available reserves or allocation of fund balances. On April 27th, 2022, the City Council held a budget workshop to review the first draft of the fiscal year '23 budget. And I have included in the packet a copy of that presentation. I'm not going to go through the whole presentation this evening, but it is available if anyone would like to go through it, as well as you could access the video. It's a 3-hour meeting, so it's pretty lengthy, but anyone can go back and watch it on the city's YouTube channel or through the website. For the general fund, we have revenues coming in at about $60.7 million. Expenditures are $40.7 million, and enhancement requests, those were all presented by the departments, and those total $5.2 million. And capital project requests are about $940,000. So there's an unprogrammed balance of $13.9 million. And the enhancement requests, those include 23 new full-time equivalent positions. City Council provide priorities for the use of remaining available balance. An additional workshop will be held on May 19th to go over those. For the Wastewater Fund, we have revenues of $12.9 million, expenses at $12.5 million, enhancement requests at $220,000, and capital project requests at $1.4 million. So there's some unfunded capital project requests. And so they were all rated high priority, and it was discussed to use available fund balance to fund the amount needed for the projects. It was also presented to use $1 million of fund balance to seed a new repair and replace fund that could be used for a spare pump and variable frequency drive program that would allow inventory to be purchased, avoiding disrupted service and costs associated with emergency replacement of those capital items. And so fund balance is then estimated to be at 32.7% of annual operating expenses, which is still within the 25% reserve policy. So it's a very appropriate use of fund balance for those one-time capital projects. And with that, I'll take any questions anyone has.
Are there any questions from members of the committee?
I do have one.
Yes, Member Finn.
So Jennifer, Mayor White had proposed a potential payoff of WRCOG. Is there any updates that staff has on that, or do they have any information, or do they think they will have that information for the meeting on the 19th?
Yes, the interim city manager is currently working on that, and we hope to have an update at the next workshop.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay, thank you.
I had the same question, and I just would like to say that I was at that workshop meeting, and it was very vetted well by the council and myself, and it was well presented. The information there, they did a super job putting it together.
All right, if there are no further questions, we'll move on to the subcommittee updates. Nicole, do you have the members of the Internal Control Committee?
Listed?
Yes.
Not handy, but
Okay.
if you give me a minute.
That's myself and Mr. Cooley.
All right. Any updates, Barry?
No, we haven't been. Well, there hasn't been anything for us. We're sort of ad hoc at this point on
Yep.
that. We've cleared up the issues that were there from the last audit, and we're comfortable.
All right. Thank you, sir. Are there any members of the Financial Training Committee present?
Yes, I could do an update on that. So council was presented with the financial training, and it was well received, and they thanked everyone for putting that together. And they had 2 minor modifications that they requested in the presentation. So I have been in contact with Mr. Vanderpool. So me and him will go back and we will make those 2 corrections and then bring it back, and it should be ready for final approval.
Thank you. Are there any members of the CFD Training and FAQ Committee present? Yes,
Yeah,
Member
we were
Finn.
not able to meet. We've got, if I'm calling it the right thing, that the geosourcing, we wanted to have that mapped out, and and staff needs to, I hope I'm saying this correct. Find a new company and a new service that offers that. Am I correct in that, Jennifer?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
The GIS,
so-
correct.
I think we're kind of on hold at the moment with that. And with the last meeting that we were planning, we had a scheduling conflict with another committee meeting, or the same evening or something that drug on, that pulled Mr. Vanderpool away. So we're kind of on hold at the moment on that. We're just waiting for further direction from staff.
Thank you, Councilmember Finn. The Reserve Policy Committee consists of myself and Member Christina Nuno. We have not met. I did do some preliminary research actually recently and found a few links that could inform our research on a reserve policy. I'll be forwarding that to Member Nuno, and I would expect we'll meet probably within the next month. As far as reporting out, probably not for another 1 to 2 meetings. I know that we were told that this specific committee is not high priority, but I figured since we are members of the committee, we would just run in parallel to the other priorities and see what we could get accomplished. So that is where that committee stands at the moment. Do we have any members of the Calpers Liability Committee present?
I show that one is Janetti and Eustachian and Cooley.
Yeah, and I think where we're at with that is the city has adopted a pension 115 trust. And so that has just been implemented in this fiscal year. So I think we are going to come back and look at that at a later date, because it's pretty much that's how you're addressing it, right? And so departments now are contributing to that fund within the funding policy that council approved. And so it's kind of, they're addressing it, and then we can come back and check with that when our auditors are reviewing all of our Calpers data.
Okay. Anything you'd like to add, Barry?
No, that's where we are. After we initiated the 115 and the 115 trust and the council approved it, we kind of want to see if that helps, because we understand where we stood with Calpers, and this is a way to alleviate some of the burden that's created with never catching up in our contribution.
All right, the next subcommittee, the Long-Term Financial Sustainability Subcommittee. Are there any members present?
I believe that's Member Garcia.
All right, that member is absent. The Bond Accountability Subcommittee, I believe we submitted our report, so that has been taken care of. The RFP Subcommittee, are there any members present for that?
I'm on that. We haven't had any RFP activity since the last one. That's a standby. Our anticipation is that there will be maybe 4 or 5 of those in the course of a fiscal year. And we had the one previous about 4 or 5 weeks ago. That was with the park. And it seemed to run well, and we're just wait for the next one.
Thank you, Treasurer Janetti. We've finished the subcommittee updates, and we'll move into the Finance Director's comments.
Yes, thank you. So I wanted to update the committee. The city was notified that Citibank, who holds our general checking, will no longer collateralize public deposits beginning in July. So that is government code that we have to have, our deposits have to be collateralized. So we have issued an RFP for banking and merchant services. And we're kind of working fast on that. We hope to have submittals by the end of this month, so that way we can go through them and get a new bank by the time that Citibank will no longer collateralize those deposits. We will keep the committee informed on that process. And we have our auditors here this week. They are doing their field work for the audit, the interim field work, and everything seems to be going pretty well, at least for the first day. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Eustachian.
Mr. Chair, I have a question regarding that.
Yes, Councilmember Finn.
So, Mr. Eustachian, on the RFP that goes out, are we allowed to contact a local business and specifically ask them to apply? The reason why I ask is we have the Bank of Hemet that has done banking work for local government agencies, and it would be nice to support a local business if we don't have any other ones that reach out. So I don't know if we're able to literally go call or knock on their door and say, hey, would you like to submit? Or is it just we put out the RFP request online and see who shows up?
Yeah, we can send them out. We do actually have Bank of Hemet for some of our other accounts. So
Okay.
we do for our gas tax and construction accounts, we do go through them. Mostly, though, they are not large enough to handle what we need in the general checking side, but we can definitely check with them.
Okay, yeah, because they did some work for the San Diego Pass Water Agency, and yeah, they're a lot smaller than the city of Beaumont in terms of finances, but I just thought I'd throw that out there because we were happy with their service and thought they might do a good job if they can handle the load. So I
Great.
appreciate the info. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? All right, since this is an informational meeting only, we have no quorum. There's no other official business to go through. So I will simply inform everyone our next regular meeting of the Finance and Audit Committee is scheduled for Monday, June 6th, 2022 at 6 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
All right, thanks.